Everyone who's watched horror media or played games long enough has had to experience that moment. A moment that hits you so hard and makes you so afraid that you immediately drop your controller, shut off whatever it is you're playing or watching to then never touch it again and resist touching it in the future. Maybe it was coming across your first zombie in Resident Evil 1. It could have been Man-Bat's surprise jump scare in Arkham Knight or the fake game crash sequence in Arkham Asylum thanks to Scarecrow. It could be Max Payne's nightmare sequences, the latter moment in Fear, seeing Rick's face for the first time in The Walking Dead Destinies. Maybe it was experiencing the Black Ops 1 or World at War zombie screens as a kid. Or it could be the baby sequence from Resident Evil Village, or Lisa's entire presence in Silent Hill PT, if you were even able to play that. It could be all of Alien Isolation, or even just the Venom jump scare in LEGO Marvel Superheroes. Whatever it was, even if it was something simple like seeing the Grim Reaper in The Sims or playing survival mode in Minecraft and having to deal with the mobs at night for the first time, everyone who's played more than like 5 to 10 games or watched more than 5 to 10 movies has been spooked enough by something. Now I know what you're thinking. With all of these examples brought up, what's your point? Aren't you supposed to be working on a Call of Duty Ghosts video essay like you teased in the last video? Well, while that is true and I am working on it, I wanted to start a more personal series of video essays that I could upload when things start to get a little busy between larger videos. Anyways, for this video's topic, when it comes to me, my moment that stuck with me happened over 10 years ago in a little game called The Evil Within. The Evil Within is a 2014 survival horror game developed by Japanese studio Tango Gameworks, known for other games like Hi-Fi Rush, Ghostwire Tokyo, and then of course the Evil Within series. The game itself was published by Bethesda, you know, the company you can thank for games like 1995's Terminator, Fallouts 3, 4, and 76, Starfield, and then the entire Elder Scrolls series.
What? That really pisses me off.
Tango was founded and previously owned by Shinji Mikami, better known as the creator of one of my favorite game series,
Resident Evil.
And also the old series Dino Crisis, for any fans of that out there. But anyway, just like how Resident Evil is known as Biohazard in Japan, The Evil Within also has a different Japanese name, being called Psycho Break over there. But in the US, Mikami decided to go for another title with Evil in it.
Evil!
This title, like many of his previous games, is a third-person shooter, where you have to fight a variety of disfigured and transformed enemies and bosses, while also scavenging around for supplies and using and upgrading guns and stealth to get through each chapter, avoiding things like bear traps, tripwire bombs, and solving puzzles along the way, just like another very popular and familiar game in that other series. This game's story centers around your protagonist, Detective Sebastian Castellanos, as he is forced into a very Silent Hill or Resident Evil-esque scenario. As Sebastian, you've got syringes for health, glass bottles for distraction, ammo for your guns, matches for burning corpses, like Resident Evil, and green gel which can be found to upgrade your stats, like stamina, health, and ammo capacity. As you make your way through the game, crafting things and stabbing people with your knife, Sebastian picks up many weapons, starting with just a revolver and upgrading to a shotgun, a sniper rifle, and the Agony crossbow, which is a very cool elemental weapon. Eventually, you'll also gain access to a mysterious safe house in your brain called the Safe Haven that can be entered by looking into cracked and glowing mirrors. Of course, following the theme of this game, it's a mental hospital, which serves as an area to catch your breath, as well as a place to save or upgrade yourself in the nurse's personal jigsaw trap. The story, like I mentioned, is played in chapters, with there only being 15 in the game, excluding any DLC storylines. But here's the thing. When my mom gave me this game at around 10 or 11, I barely made it past maybe 5 to 10 minutes into chapter 2 before I quit. So I clearly missed out on a lot of what happens in this series. I didn't have any shotguns or crossbow bolts, or hell, I barely even had time with the revolver. All I had to rely on was me and me alone, a child. And that's the crazy part. My whole life, I'd been surrounded by the horror genre since my family would openly watch scary movies or play horror games around me, so they never really needed to shield me from it. I mean, I have very fond memories of playing the Resident Evil games multiple times with my dad and sister, to the point where all three of us could quote any line from the games, including The Dark Side and Umbrella Chronicles. Obviously, at the time, the two of them would be the ones playing, while I would be the one playing the mercenary mode, all on the Wii and GameCube, by the way. And this is some of what he had to say about the Resident Evil 2 remake, just to further prove that he really did play those games.
Tell us a story, tell us a story.
Okay, well, it was last Friday night. I was walking over.
What the hell am I watching?
This woman started coming towards me. She was staggering.
I almost want that.
I figured she was drunk.
Is this part of the game? This guy's eating a burger?
You alright?
Yeah, I think so.
Hey, Claire?
Thanks.
You can thank me later, when we're safe.
If you really think about it, Leon doesn't make sense. A lot of fire. Looks like it plays pretty much the same.
Oh shoot, I forgot I already played this game. Because you know how Resident Evil is, when you beat the game, they pretty much give you whatever. So I have an infinite rocket launcher now. So
You need the Chicago typewriter.
you remember the Mercenaries mode? Like when you could play as the other characters?
Yeah.
They allow you to play as Luis in the remake, which it wasn't something you could do in the original.
Right, because he sucked in the original.
Yeah.
Yeah, he would have a pistol with blanks in it.
Yeah.
Leon, are you okay?
There you go. That guy looks really messed up. You might want to give him a rocket. I like the 4.
In terms of my mom, she's had horror movies playing every day of my life for as long as I can remember, so I was just used to it. So yeah, you can kinda see her mindset for why she bought her 10 to 11-year-old son his own copy of The Evil Within for his new personal Xbox One that he got on his birthday, not long before getting that game. And at my age now, on my own, I have played many horror titles, including every single Resident Evil game, some more than 3 to 4 times.
No, not you, Seamus.
Ah, poo.
But I have continuously held off on returning to The Evil Within because of the fears that stayed with me as a kid, somehow having this as the only game that ever truly got to me. And it makes no sense, because I've definitely completed games that are way scarier than this. I mean, this is the same series that gives you this joke in its sequel.
You could have just called, you know?
Are you coming with me or not?
I told you I wasn't going to leave this place. It's fucking evil out there.
That may be, but there's evil within, too.
It's just stayed with me for so long, like it was embedded into my brain or something, and I simply couldn't do it. But to understand why I couldn't shake these feelings at the time, you don't just need to see the moments in chapters 1 and 2 that made me drop it as a kid, but also the main catalyst of my fears from when I first tried this game. The game begins with you, as Detective Sebastian Castellanos, riding in a police car on your way to investigate the Beacon Mental Hospital. In the car, driven by an Officer Connolly, you learn that the initial call said that it was for multiple homicides, so you're joined by your partner Joseph and a junior detective named Julie Kidman, who come along with you to figure out what happened at the hospital.
He beats the ghost of that doctor who went schizo and chopped up all those patients.
That's not what happened. Some patients disappeared. Some kind of scandal?
Still, gives you the creeps, doesn't it?
127, 124, please respond.
Joseph, you think there's a connection?
It's a possibility. I believe the records were sealed.
A call then abruptly comes in over the radio, so Sebastian answers, but suddenly the call breaks up and a high-pitched frequency interrupts them through the speaker, visibly hurting everyone's ears except for Kidman's. And this, from what I've researched for this video, is the exact moment where the main characters in the game are no longer in the real world. Imagine it's kinda like entering Silent Hill's other world or the Upside Down from Stranger Things. This frequency, linked to the main antagonist of the game, comes from the device referred to as STEM, which is a machine that links human brains together, immersing them into a shared world, all within a mental space. It's a coincidence as well that it's called STEM, because there's actually another video I'm working on that has a similar device with the same name. I imagine this window shot is the initial transition between worlds, but it doesn't seem like the cast recognizes any differences after the crossover, outside of Joseph taking his glasses off and shaking his head. The four arrive at the mental hospital's gates, but before they head in, Sebastian orders Connolly to stay behind to contact dispatch so that they know what's happening. So now it's just you, Joseph, and Kidman who walk past the gates, and if you can't tell right away from the very intense black bars, this game aims to be very cinematic, almost like a movie in a theater. And honestly, I will admit that even a decade later, I think this game's graphics hold up pretty nicely. Game looks pretty good. And he's got that stuff on though. Rain's hitting him hard as hell like freaking hail.
Smells like blood.
All right, stay sharp. We're gonna check it out. Don't let anyone else through this door.
I can be an extra set of eyes.
We don't know what's happening here. You're a backup.
With Kidman left outside, Sebastian and Joseph look around at the massacre that occurred inside the hospital, with nurses, patients, and doctors dead all over the place. Joseph gets ahead of you and finds a doctor who's been left alive in a nearby room, so he calls you over to check it out with him. The two ask the doctor if he was injured and what happened, but all he can say is,
"Can't be real. Impossible. Ruvik is..."
Not knowing what any of that meant or who Ruvik is, Joseph suggests looking at the cameras for more information. Heading over to the left side of the room to look at the camera setup shows some cops shooting at a teleporting, disfigured corpse of a man wearing a white hood who's wielding a knife. Of course, this is one of those characters, and he looks directly at you through the camera and teleports away, to then reappear behind you, stabbing you in the eye, cutting the game to a flash of white and then a screen of black. After all of this, when you reawaken, you are then introduced to the character and moment that somehow haunted me and stayed with me the most in gaming. The Sadist and his torture room. Up until this point in my playthrough, I had convinced myself that I would be able to make it through the entire game, since I was able to handle everything they had shown me so far. I'm a detective? Cool. I've got partners? Even better. A mass murder at a mental hospital? Okay. It's a scary location, but I'll manage. A teleporting ghost guy with a knife? I mean, he's scary, but at least he's kinda cool looking. Waking up hanging upside down in a room with dead bodies and a grotesque man with a mask, heavy breathing in front of me as he chops at the corpse hanging next to you while classical music plays. Oh, hell no! Hell no! This is The Sadist. And his absolute adrenaline rush of a sequence has stuck with me for so long that when I revisited this game and did my own research for this video, I was surprised to learn that he's not even just a tutorial enemy, but rather an enemy that has multiple appearances in both games. And the craziest part is that he's not even the game's main antagonist. The actual main bad guy of the game is Ruvik, the man that the doctor briefly spoke about when you first found him. And then there's also the more iconic character from this game, the Keeper, which is really this game's take on a Pyramid Head type character, with him being a large man with a safe replacing his head, who also wields a large weapon, with his being a meat tenderizer, kinda like that big knife. Personally, I also think Sebastian and the Keeper would be cool additions to my previous passion, Dead by Daylight, but that's not what I'm here to talk about. The Sadist, literally meaning a person who gets pleasure from the pain and torture of someone else, is everything I despise in an enemy, especially when I was a 10 or 11-year-old. He's disgusting, he's covered in blood, he's bigger than you in a moment where you're at your most powerless, he has a metal mask hiding his disfigured appearance, he plays cliche music from a dirty gramophone. He's fast, he's unpredictable, and the dynamics of his section can constantly change from chase sequences to hiding sequences, and the only thing you can really do against him at the beginning is stay hidden. The best way I can describe the Sadist and his first encounter is if you took the character that he is blatantly inspired by, the chainsaw-wielding, burlap sack-wearing Dr. Salvador from Resident Evil 4, and combine them with Professor Pig from Batman Arkham Knight, and then you found an abusive father somewhere in there wearing a wife beater, and you fused them into one character, and then dropped him and you into a 4x4 space where you have no weapons to fight him with. To make things worse, since this is your first interaction against an enemy character in the game, all you get is a knife. And while it is possible to kill him, you need to continuously put yourself at risk by stabbing him in the back at least 16 times, which does get you a decently sized reward, at least in terms of the beginning of the game, but it's only a temporary kill anyways, since he is still a recurring character. Realistically though, killing him is just not happening on your first playthrough, especially during your first or second attempts when fear is still at its peak and you do not want to get caught or die, since that will then start cracking your immersion with each death, turning your fears into frustrations against the game. To avoid that from possibly happening, you will subconsciously follow the rules of horror and you will hide and run through these tight-ass hallways to get away and live, all while having that itch to look behind you or around corners while being near his screams, anger, and roaring chainsaw, which is, of course, a very familiar and reliable tool in horror that still does its job right, at least in terms of overwhelming you with its brutal power and violent nature. Because I know that when I hear the revving of an enemy's chainsaw in a moment where I'm already under established stress or tension, I'm about ready to call it quits and try again another day. After getting the opening to swing back and forth as a means to grab the knife stuck in the body in front of you, you cut yourself free and then have to wait for the sadist to finish his butchering job on the corpse lying on his table. Eventually, he walks away to do something, giving you the opportunity to grab the very shiny keys hanging off the hook above the body. Quickly heading back to the area where you were just hanging, you can now open a very squeaky door that was previously locked. As you move up the stairs, the sadist is completely missing from the downstairs view, but don't you worry, he comes back real soon. The first chase sequence begins with you running through a hallway with him following very closely behind you, even getting a good slice on Sebastian's right calf with his saw before he then locks you in a room with rotating blades that inch closer and closer to you. Spotting the hatch at the end of the area, you jump down and slide through a bloody and trap-filled chute, falling into more blood and guts below. Now in the sewers, you limp through some poo-poo water, which definitely would have infected your open wound, and you find a dead guy in a wheelchair holding a note talking about the gates in front of you, which also all have their own individual locks. The note specifically mentions a ladder beside a locked gate that can take you up to the old ward, which also contains an elevator that can help you get back to the outside world. So, following that, you climb up the ladder and continue forward where you then find another note discussing the STEM system, which I brought up earlier. Opening the door to the entrance of the old ward, you should basically feel his aura and subconsciously know that what you had just experienced was only a taste of what's to come. Walking past some filing cabinets and pushing the next door in, you hear him again. With the game now prompting you to hold a button to quickly snap your head behind you as he enters the room you were just in. And if you've noticed from when you first walked in, this room has a locker in it, and with this sequence serving as this game's first tutorial area for many of its mechanics, you are now meant to quickly hide inside of it while he rages around in front of you, before eventually crashing through the locked door beside you. Initially, you may want to stay put while you wait for his chainsaw to get quieter and more distant, but sadly that's never going to happen. So your next objective is to first build up the courage to leave the locker, and then get past him as he surveys and stalks around the entire area. Luckily for Sebastian though, there are some areas you can pass through while crouched, allowing you to get farther away from him without being seen. And there is also another locker that you can hide in. Sometimes you will go on a rampage out of anger, destroying the things in his path simply because he can't find you. Ironically though, his chaos and slight unpredictability can work to your advantage, as his destruction may clear new paths for you to hide or maneuver around him, so don't let his madness stop you from getting by. Eventually, as you creep past the beds and he scans the different areas in the ward for you, you can slip into another nearby room. You don't get much time alone though, since he rushes into it right behind you. Here you can pick up a glass bottle behind a counter to throw and use as a distraction, causing him to run toward the noise, angry as hell. This gives you a chance to run like hell to the nearest exit that he was continuously pacing in front of. Once you get inside, the game treats the new room as a sort of safe zone, giving you a moment to catch your breath after these moments that make me almost shit myself.
I'm so cooked, 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 I'm so cooked!
The moment to collect yourself doesn't last long, since as soon as you try to advance forward, another scripted sequence begins, with the Sadist breaking down the door behind you and chasing after you in the tight hallway filled with nothing but wheelchair and gurney obstacles blocking your way out of there. That was the Sadist's torture room. But that's not the end of what caused me to ditch this game for a long portion of my life. After barely making it out alive and getting to watch the theme-establishing opening credits for the game, you end up in the hallway where Ruvik had recently killed those cops. Except now, the building begins to crumble around you as you run toward the exit. This leads to a cutscene that reveals that the entire city has started collapsing. Officer Connolly pulls up using an ambulance as a getaway car, driving away as the ground sinks in behind him. And Ruvik, watching your escape from the top of the mental hospital, teleports away. We're then shown the backseat of the ambulance where we can see that Kidman and the previously unconscious doctor had made it out, while your partner Joseph had to be left behind due to there being little time to wait. There's also a new character here named Leslie, who happens to be a neurodivergent patient who had recently escaped the hospital alongside everyone. As he panics, the doctor reassures him while Kidman watches him closely. The rest of the cutscene has the ambulance squad trying their hardest to outrun the city as it collapses and shifts drastically. A little bit later, they find themselves in a tunnel, having a moment to at least talk about their situation.
Damn it. Are we cut off from everyone?
Everyone must be dead.
Everyone all right back there?
Just a few bumps, we're fine.
Fine.
We will be once we're far away.
Fine.
After this, Sebastian looks at the rearview mirror to now see Ruvik standing back there with them, staring very hard at Leslie, so he quickly snaps his head back to then see that he's no longer there. And with that realization, Leslie soon begins to yell,
Fall! Fall!
Look out!
Fall! Fall!
and just like that, Chapter 1 comes to an end. And at the age of 10 or 11, I may have been shaken up or spooked, but at least I was able to get past it. Just barely. Sometime after the crash, you fade in and out of consciousness as a doctor and nurse wheel you into somewhere while you're also strapped down to a gurney. And after a brief moment where this dude gets on top of you, you wake up inside an insane asylum cell with the world being seen in a black and white filter. Getting out of your bed, you can head over to the desk next to you to get your first jar of green gel, as well as read the paper detailing mutilated bodies found in the lakeside village of Elk River, which we will come to see very soon. Once you're done with that, moving over to the door and peeking through the bars, you'll trigger a conversation with the main nurse of this hospital.
Are we awake?
Is everyone else all right? The city.
Whatever are you talking about? You are the only soul here. Right now.
Leaving the room and following behind her will take you to the front desk/reception counter, which also serves as the save station of the game, but before saving, she says some dialogue to Sebastian, which I can only imagine is very important to the world's overarching story.
A hospital.
This place is necessary for you. You're always welcome here.
After that, she takes you to the upgrade chair, which starts a cutscene after burning through your first 100 points from the green gel.
There now. You see? All better.
Lady, am I going crazy?
Now what makes you say that?
Do you get it? I said burning through. Like, burning, like fire. No? Not funny? Okay. Sebastian wakes up, this time truly after the crash, and he's left in the fiery ambulance somewhere lost in the woods without any of the supporting characters. Nearby, you can find your first health syringe, as well as more green gel, which is always good, and a light source a little bit further down the trail. There's also like a cow, horse, deer thing with crows surrounding it, which also activates the melee tutorial for you since there is a box nearby with some more gel hidden inside of it. Following the trail deeper into the woods in hopes of finding some sort of life, or maybe even the village you read about in the paper in your mind, you'll eventually see someone walking creepily into a tent. Sebastian, seeing this person, stumbles down the hill trying to reach him, injuring his side in the process. Inside the tent, the man's shadow reveals that he's crouched, eating at something off the ground. So, moving slowly towards the revolver nearby, a very blatant Resident Evil 1 Easter egg begins, with Officer Connolly recreating and taking the place of the first zombie encounter in that game, due to his mutation beginning in the ambulance, which they showed right before you fell off the cliff. This Resident Evil 1 reference, which apparently isn't even the last one since you can find a bootleg Spencer Mansion later on in the game, triggered something in child me that hit so deep that I immediately panicked and closed the game to never open it again. At least until this video, where I was finally able to face my childhood fears that once held me back, and I could kill these inner demons to push farther than I ever had with this game. And I know it's been some time since I've done this style of content, but I hope you can enjoy me, a man in his 20s, giving himself some type of exposure therapy while still screaming at the game, all because of his childhood. Alright, here we are, 11 years later. This is nuts, man, to be back here after so many years, an emergency call. I know what I'm in for the most part. Can't say I'm super excited. Mental hospitals are always great areas in a horror game. I remember him a little bit, don't remember his deal. That's not good. Ah, I didn't know it was that quick. Okay. Nice. There he is, the sadist himself. Oh, God. Alright, I got this, I got this. He's gonna go that way. And I have to get those keys. Give me those. And he's immediately coming back. Oh! 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 That was very quick. On, right behind him. Give me those keys. Oh, why'd that scare me? And now begins, yep, the running. Don't look behind you. Bad idea. Oh, my leg. I'm trying to run. Oh, God. I got it. They really don't give you a second to breathe. Like, they don't introduce you or nothing. Okay. Oh, no, I remembered more. I just remembered more. Yep. Yep. Yep, I'm good. I'm good. I'm good. I knew it. I knew there was more.
Better hide.
I know. Oh my God, it's like Dead by Daylight. I ain't even here. Oh my God! Oh my God. Okay. I'll just hide in here. This should not scare me, but it does. And maybe it's because of childhood memories, I don't know. I'm just gonna keep moving. He's moving with me. Oh! Ah! What's your pathing, bro? You should have seen my face. I should have had my webcam on for this section. Oh my God. Brother, what is your pathing? Oh! I'm so cooked. 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 Okay, bottle. I'm gonna throw it. Over there. I am struggling right now. Checkpoint. That's good. Oh, yep. Here we are. All right. There he is. Big man himself. Just run. Don't even think about it. Yep. the fact that that's not even all of it. I'm out of here, bye. Nice. Screw you, Sadist. Screw you. Brain juice. Coming up on probably about the time where I dropped the game. Very nice revolver, 6-shooter. Let's go. 6 bullets in the chamber. 1 for me, of course. Oh, fuck! Don't run at me, boy. Freeze! I said freeze!
My God, Conley.
Are you dead for real, or are you dead? Very much Resident Evil-esque. Yep. You have to burn the bodies to keep them dead. Thanks, Shinji Mikami. Why am I still playing? I totally dropped the game after, like, the first encounter. I think. Why was the Sadist low-key the scariest part? Can I just kill you? Oh! Sorry, guy. Watch this. Oh! Boy! I will beat you so hard. Back up. Whoo! Man, when you get a gun, it's like a different feeling, I feel like. In horror games, like, when you have that gun on you, it's like nothing can really scare you anymore. Back up, bro. Oh, I ain't got no guns no more. Oh. Oh! Oh, well, let me let go real quick. Because they decided to... Oh, that was a waste. I don't have ammo for this. Oh, my God. I actually don't have the... Okay. Well, now what? Oh, I guess that's it. I can't even see what just happened to me. Are they there already? I just didn't notice them. Oh. Oh yeah, so I didn't even have to worry about them. There's a couple of y'all. I'm just gonna...
That's right. Just keep doing what you're doing.
Yeah, pretty much, right? Oh, dear God. Oh, we running now. Oh, we running now. We didn't have any ammo. Cool. Well, folks, I officially, after 11 years, made it farther than my 10-year-old self did. I feel very accomplished. Take it away, future video essay me. At the time, when I first played The Evil Within, I didn't have the words to explain what made it so terrifying to me. Now, years later, I can finally explain why it hit me like it did, and while it may be obvious now to many, including myself over these years, it still feels nice to directly pinpoint and analyze the things that stuck with me. I mean, you get little to no control or say of what happens, you're forced to play in claustrophobic spaces thanks to the tight hallways and areas, and even just the cinematic black bars that are always on the screen almost turn the game into more of an interactive horror film, which can totally make things feel more uneasy and cramped, even if you don't have the phobia. There's also little to no in-game music to help break the tension, so you're forced to listen to all of the sounds of the world, and the echoes of your footsteps,
Where's the exit?
and creaks and doors. It's just a non-stop game of cat and mouse against a giant brute, and no one, at least in a scenario like this, would ever willingly choose to be the mouse. So all of these things combined really allow you to feel like you're trapped inside of one of Sebastian's, or really, one of Shinji Mikami's grotesque and twisted nightmares, where you are the one constantly being hunted by zombies, the unknown, and even just the noises off in the distance. And you know what? Maybe it's a good thing that these moments in film and video games and novels can scare someone so much to the point of making them hate the idea of returning to it. Because horror sticking with you doesn't have to be a bad thing.
I like horror.
It makes me happy.
I mean, who knows? Maybe in some way, the universe made me drop the evil within for 10 years to then come back with a new perspective and find a new appreciation in it through this video. Horror is more than just monsters jumping out at you. It's an atmosphere. It's using your vulnerability and memories and turning them and your internal emotions against you. It's that slow building tension that lives in your mind, creating a sort of uncertainty and powerlessness that keeps you from truly feeling safe. Sometimes it's a hallway, or a basement. Sometimes it's children. Sometimes it's in the ocean, or it's in space. Sometimes it's a little man running around with big scissors. Or sometimes it's simply just a scary face. Whatever it may be, the point of this video was for you to see fully into my head at two separate stages in my life as you look into your own memory banks to find a personal moment in a film or show or game that gave off a similar effect of dread. Like how the interaction with the Sadist was that moment for me with this game. These things are meant to disturb you, they're meant to frighten you, but they're also meant to attract you, give you joy, and stimulate something in your brain. It's horror and fear that let us challenge what makes us uncomfortable, allowing us to grow in some aspect. And The Evil Within is one of those games that I think thrives on that feeling. Revisiting the game now, I can definitely say that the entire thing would not have been the scariest game I've ever played. In fact, it's not even the scariest opening 30 minutes I've experienced. That part specifically goes to Resident Evil 7, which I also had a hard time getting through at the age of like 13, but unlike this game, I revisited RE7 within a year or so and finished it, which is why I held off on talking about it until this moment, since it's definitely got the scarier opening, at least to me.
Welcome to the family, son.
Don't like that.
Holy shit! Sorry. Got me. You got me.
You need a gun. Leon would kill... But at least with The Evil Within, it still succeeds in knowing how to make you feel weak and small. And sometimes that can be scarier than any jump scare could ever be. Plus, for an intro or a hook, I would say that it does its job well, as it clearly scared Kid Me to his core. But after finally killing Officer Zombily and slightly reliving the feeling of playing the village section of RE4, the second chapter closes with Sebastian running to a nearby bridge and jumping off the edge as a means to get away, with the zombies watching him from above. And with that, as you saw in the previous part of this video, I was finally given a feeling of peace, knowing I made it farther than I ever did before. Meaning, after all of that, I can say for sure that I could handle this game and its sequel. But, will I? Maybe.
普通に人を殺すんだったら、ナイフとか包丁とか、拳銃とか斧とかなのに、その全く違う用途で使われるもので人を殺すって普通じゃないじゃないですか。基本的にちょっと狂ってる。これで人を殺そうって最初に思ったやつはすごいと思うんですよね。
And in case any of you were curious for the film moment that makes me feel a similar way at my current age, it's this.